Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this lesson is about using probability to predict. You're going to use a proportion to predict the number of times each event will occur. You're going to round your answers to the nearest whole number, making sure that you show your work, and then check your answers off in the answer bank that I placed at the back of this assignment. So, here is how this spinner works. Eventually going to work with the fact that we're going to spin the spinner 40 times, but first we're going to look at what the event is that they want us to have. They want us to spin that spinner and not come up with a W. So if I don't want to land on W, I could land here, I could land down here, I could land here, here, or here. So see how there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places I could land? That's going to be the top of our probability fraction when we're trying to find the probability of not W's. We're actually looking for the number of not W's for the top and the total number of places where I could land. And now notice this spinner has been cut into 8 sections. So the probability of landing on not W is 5 out of 8. When you look at that one event of just spinning the spinner once, we can use this probability to make our prediction. So we are going to place that probability of landing on not a W, 5 over 8 right here. A proportion, remember, is when you have two ratios that are equal. So on this side of the proportion, we know that we're going to spin the spinner 40 times total. And what we can do is use the probability that we just calculated to find the expected number of times out of 40. So 5 out of 8 equals x out of 40 becomes the probability, or it becomes the proportion that we want to solve. So guys, if you remember solving proportion, we need to draw our butterfly. The butterfly is kind of a silly term for cross products. Okay, cross products are how we solve proportions. 8 times x gives us 8x. 5 times 40 gives us 200. So what becomes from a proportion is this little equation that we're going to solve, just like we solved all of our locker problems this year. So if we want to find out x, the number of times we expect a not W, then we have to realize that this 8 and this x are attached by multiplying. We have to divide by 8. So I believe this problem works out to be a whole number, and it is 25. So if you would look on the back of your paper, I believe down at the bottom there's an answer bank, and 25 is on it, so cross that off, please. So we can expect 25 times out of 40 spins, you're going to end up with a letter that is not a W. So guys, this is how we use proportions and probability to make predictions. Now we're going to work on this spinner. This spinner is a little different. It has the numbers 1 through 8. And the event we're interested in is landing on a number that is greater than 5. So I always like to look at my spinner and I like to circle the sections that I'd be happy with. All these places end up with a number that's greater than 5. There are 3 of them out of, remember we said there are 8 sections on this spinner? So the probability of getting what I want, a number greater than 5, is 3 out of 8. We are going to take this probability fraction and we're going to put it into our proportion for this question. Now the reason why 3 out of 8 equals x over 65 this time is because for this particular problem, we're not going to spin the spinner 40 times like we did over here. We're going to spin it 65 times. So again, the total number of spins goes on the bottom, and then x is the number we're interested in. I'm curious, if I spin and I land with a chance of 3 out of 8 on just one spin, how many times am I going to land on those numbers out of 65 spins? So again, you can see how we have this new proportion. And again, the way we solve proportions is with our cross products, or our butterfly method. So again, we have 8 times x, but this time the other side of my equation is 3 times 65. So if we multiply 3 times 65, we get 195. So here's our little locker equation. And again, you have 8 times x. You need to get rid of your 8, so you'll divide by 8 on both sides. I believe this time we get a decimal. So 195 divided by 8 is 24.375. So in the directions, it did say that we were going to round our answers to the nearest whole number. 24 is what we would round this to. So that means we can expect to spin the spinner 65 times, and out of those times, 24 times, we would land on a number greater than 5. So this would be our prediction based on the probability of just spinning once to get that event. Alright, we're going to do one more together. This one, again, has a very different spinner. This spinner only has 6 sections, so remember, your probability fraction needs the total number of sections down here. And the event we're interested in this time is that we do land on a C. So I only found 2 sections on my spinner where I would be landing on a C, and that would give me the probability 2 out of 6. In your proportion, you would set that probability equal to X, because we're trying to find out how many times we would land on C if we were now spinning 62 times. So again, once you have your proportion set up, we will do our cross products. 6 times X gives you 6X. 2 times 62 is 124. And again, you have a locker. You're going to divide by 6. So 124 divided by 6 gives you another decimal. This is a never-ending decimal, so 20.6 repeating. If we round that to the nearest whole number, we have 21. So do not forget you have an answer bank on the bottom of the back page. We need to see if we can find 21, which is there, and 24, which is there. So again, as you're working, make sure you cross off your answers as you go, and that's how you'll know that you are doing the problems correctly. I think I'll get you started on this last one, and then I'll have you finish number 5, 6, and 7. Let's see, number 4 says we're going to spin the spinner 33 times, so we'll deal with that by putting the 33 here, because when we're working on the prediction out of 33, we still need the probability over here of what event they're looking for. So we want to land on a B this time, so that means I want to land here, or here, or here, or here. So that looks like 4 sections out of, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 10 spaces on our spinner this time. So that means your probability fraction is going to be that you land on the B 4 out of 10 times. But because I want to spin it 33 times, I need to base my prediction here, my variable X. Alright, from here, I want you to do your cross products. I want you to solve. And that's going to mean that you need to hit pause on the video. I want you to solve question 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then when you're done with that, you can hit play again, because what I'm going to do this video is I'm also going to give you some help starting with number 8, 9, and 10. But remember, you are going to complete the solving for number 4. Borrow a calculator, work that through, check your answer, and then you want to start these questions over here and let me know if you need help. So go ahead and hit pause, give yourself time to finish these 3, and then hit play again so that we can finish the word problems on the back together. Okay, if you're joining me with number 8, that means you've finished number 6, 7, and I believe number 5 on the front. Okay, so again, check your answers. If your answers didn't match with the answers in the answer bank, make sure you raise your hand and get some help. Let's see, number 8. Hillary is experimenting with a new way to shoot free throws. She took a sample of 80 throws so she could predict how well she would do over the entire season. If she made 52, that means we can write a fraction saying that she made 52 out of 80 free throws, and that's part of our proportion that we're going to use to solve these. See how it says write a proportion. So if that was the sample she took, but she knows she's going to have 200 attempts at free throws, 200 is your total, and X is the number that she's going to make. Now we know this isn't always going to be true, but typically the way you practice is the way you perform in a game. So we're okay using this proportion to make a prediction. Remember, she made 52 out of 80. We want to know how many she's going to make out of 200. So you're always putting your total on the bottom of your fraction. And in this case, you're putting the number she made on the top of the fraction. So you can use this little hint over here to the side to help you get started. Because you have a proportion in front of you, you know how to solve these. You have to draw your butterfly. And then we're doing one product here, 80 times x, and then we're doing the other product, which is 52 times 200. Yes, we have some big numbers on this word problem, but that's okay. So 10,400. Remember, it's a locker problem, so we're going to divide by 80 on both sides. And we should come up with an answer that makes some sense. 10,400 divided by 80 is 130. So we have a feeling that she will make 130 free throws out of the 200 that she'll do during the season. Okay, so another problem. Again, you're going to write a proportion. For number 9, in a school survey, we had 18 out of 25 high school seniors chosen, said they were going to attend the baseball game. If there are 375 total seniors in the school, we're going to set our proportion up so we can make a prediction of the number of seniors who attend. So this right here is actually your first clue. We have 18 out of a total of 25 that were surveyed. But you know that there are 375 total. Remember, we're using this as a hint again. Always put total on the bottom of your fraction. And we want to predict out of all the seniors how many might go to the baseball game. So this is the proportion. I would like you to do cross products on and solve. Show your work. Do a sentence answer. Check your answer on the bottom. And while I've got you here, I'll help you set this one up. And then again, your job will be to finish solving these. Check your answer, and then turn this into me. So let's see, this one says 42 out of 50 students surveyed say they're going to college. We want to make a prediction of the total number of students out of 600. So again, 600 is the total amount of students it says in Julie's school. And out of those 600, we're going to base X, because we don't know how many are actually going to go, but we're going to make this into a prediction proportion that you're going to go ahead and solve for me using your cross products. Okay, so make sure you have the solutions for both of these. Make sure you have a sentence answer for both of these. And again, make sure your answers get crossed off in the answer bank, and that's how you know you're correct. Quick reminder, you are also responsible for solving number 4, and then 5, 6, 7. Okay, see me with questions.